Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're going to take a look at the Jim Bea 1957 Chevy Convertible Collector's Edition 8-year-old, released in the 1990s. Dustin, did I say that right?
100 months. Back in the 90s, that was a big thing they liked to do. And Beam's actually kind of brought that back recently. Remember that, Hardin's Creek that was 15 years old that we had?
100 months. Oh, I do remember 100-month old.
It had it was 144 months or some obscure number. And I was like, all right, let me pull out a calculator here because I never learned the 12s times table.
So, Dustin, you got this at a car auction, and as somebody who...
it was a charity auction. We did through the Whisky tube. Finally got a hold of it. By the way, one of those wheels will fall off. It is not in... Yeah. It is not in pristine condition by any means, but if you look at this tax... I'm just going to take this off here. Yep. If you guys look at this tax strip, get that show to you. While the car may not be perfect, the whiskey is absolutely perfect.
Yeah, buddy. So what we did was we're actually going to open this here online and put in this decanter, and we're going to take a look at this 8-year-old Jim Bea, but really just more something we thought that was a really cool item. Dustin was super excited when he was able to get to it. So
this is such a cool thing here, guys.
This is just my friend. No, Dustin, my dad was always a big car guy, which has always got me into sports cars. We always had a couple of cool old cars. My dad always had 2 old cars that he kept until almost the day he died. One was a 65 Impala with 327. Oh my God, look at the fill level.
Oh my God, it is filled to the brim.
To the brim. Oh my God.
Oh, and I can smell the whiskey. I don't know how to... that is such an awkward thing to pour.
This would be a super awkward thing to pour, Dustin.
I mean, guys, I don't know if you can see this, but I mean, literally...
It is literally to the top.
It's overflowing almost.
To the top right there. Woo, how do we do it? You know what we're going to do? We're going to put this in the decanter over here. We're going to 2-hand this, Dustin. All right, you're going to flip it over. Let me flip it. 3, 2.
We got to be one person, man. There's no way we're coordinated.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, jeez. All right, at this point, Mike, we could probably flip it back over and use the... I don't know. Let's just keep going.
Dustin, I'm just going to keep it going. It's messy as hell.
All right, guys, I'm going to grab some paper towels.
Yeah, no doubt. So I had a decanter gifted to me by my nephew many Christmases ago, so we're going to finally get some good use out of it. Oh, wow. It's like changing my oil, Dustin. Back when I used to do it, you got to get every little itty-bitty spot. All right, look at that. Woo! There's plenty of mess over here. All right, we got to pick this up.
I don't know if you're picking up on that yet, Mike, but I'm definitely getting an interesting, Yeah, there is a raisin.
Oh, okay.
Gasoline. It's gasoline and raisins.
I was about to say, it just smells like gas to me, bro.
It's gasoline and raisins. I'm telling you.
This is what I think the bits of Real Panther from the first...
Anchorman.
For the first Anchorman, yeah. Sex Panther. This is what Sex Panther smells like. I'm not going to lie to you, Brian. This was like pure gasoline. And that's what it does from a distance. All right, anyway.
There's some gasoline here for sure.
My wife's going to be so glad we just had the cleaners come to the house.
We just had a discussion about wearing shoes or not. Yeah, I know.
I should have used this.
You're like, I think I just flip it. And I'm like, Remember when I first said, I was like, this is going to be awkward. And you're like, it'll be fine. I'm equipped. I'm like, yeah, but look where it is.
Yeah.
It's just in a dumb place.
I completely forgot the funnel. All right. Anyway, here we go. So the 1957 Chevy Convertible Beam Decanter Series. Decanter Series?
Yeah, Collectors.
Collector is the series of Decanter. Yep. Decanter.
It's a Beam Decanter Collector Series, I guess.
Damn.
Smells decent.
Not a bad nose.
No, it's nice sweetness.
Mm-hmm. Got almost like warm popcorn nuttiness.
I mean, I was thinking some baked apple pie with the cinnamon and the crust.
There is a cinnamon there, right?
Yeah, I mean, not so much the apple piece, but the cinnamon crust.
Yeah, I was thinking just plain old movie theater popcorn.
It's a little cloudy here. I mean, it's just been in that thing for 30 years.
That might be a little lead from the side of whatever this was in. This was made out of.
Well, if not, it's probably going to pick up some lead from this, because this is probably lead crystal.
No, this is glass. It's
not lead glass?
Yeah, this was glass. You're going to be good with this one.
All I'm hearing is your family was too cheap to get you the proper lead.
Yeah, the expensive ones will kill you. So you know it's good. Sex Panther.
Sir, you need to drink this fast. But this will be fun, man. We're going to keep this over here at Mike's, and when we have our whiskey friends over, which shockingly, we occasionally have people over here. This will be a fun one to pour for people.
Yeah, so you guys want to stop by next time you're in Grove City?
Absolutely.
Turn left at the high school.
Yeah, 40% obviously comes in and kind of ruins what otherwise would have been a really great nose, I think.
But really aromatic for 40%.
It is. And the gasoline note's really not coming through now that we've actually got it in the blend.
No, I agree. No, I mean, it's shockingly sweet. Shockingly is a bit much. Strikingly sweet.
Yeah, with Beam, I was kind of, expecting a little more nuttiness, a little bit of, earthiness, It's
None of that.
No, get 30 years ago, Beam was a different product.
Well, this was released in the 90s, 100 months old. This is 80s distillate, you would figure probably.
Most likely, yeah, this was distilled in the 80s.
Early 80s would be my guess. Early to mid 80s. Where were you, Dustin? 85, you were born.
Yeah.
Doing us no good.
I was just mooching off of my parents in the system.
Yeah, I was watching the Bears. It was the last time they were ever great. We're about to draft Caleb Williams. By the time that we post this video, we will. Mark it down, and everything will be different. That's how it goes.
That's what Mike's been saying for 30 years.
Yeah, 38 to be transparent with you, Dustin. That's why I'm hoping it goes well this time. But this whiskey was probably distilled around the time the last went well for me.
As Mike knows, the definition of insanity. Just putting it out there.
Yep. You got to wear White Sox hats. Your football team stinks.
I'm going to dive into this one. I'm also starting to get a little bit of a candy, sweetness, some kind of hard shell candy.
Shockingly pleasant, yeah. Overall, it's simple but sweet. I'm getting, again, just like peanut, like a popcorn peanut smell, just like maybe with a little bit of butter on it, and just a rich molasses sweetness.
All right, this is classic Jim Beam once you taste it. Nutty, peanutty, a lot of that cinnamon. Got a good spicy kick. Actually, even though it's a little bit thin, the mouth and the flavor profile here is punching, and the finish is shockingly good. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I'm just getting classic Jim Beam notes. Crazy.
It's about 40 seconds. You feel all right? You haven't died? You haven't fallen over? All right. I guess it's safe to give this a taste.
I was like, what is he doing over here?
Watching your clock and your pulse to make sure when it hits your bloodstream, you don't start falling down on me.
I was like, Mike has never looked at my watch before, ever.
Just for the time. Just for the time. That's all I care about.
I could walk in here with a Patek Philippe, and this guy would have no idea it wasn't a Timex.
Nope. I don't like decorations. Don't do it for me. But many people have commented about your watches. I know they're nice. Don't know what any of that means. But no, I just want to make sure you didn't die. My heritage is English, so we remember food testers and poisoners. So
fair
I just want to make sure, your eyes didn't go cloudy. Look all right.
Has anybody else gone right into that scene from Princess Bride right here?
Oh, please. All right.
One of these glasses has poison. The other does not.
Inconceivable.
That is one of the greatest movies ever.
You could absolutely play the role of that dissonant little man that thinks he's smarter than everyone else. That is absolutely you. If we're going to reenact that movie,
I don't know if I could be the little man there, Mike, but I definitely could pull off that arrogant cunt.
Yes, you are that role. Keith can be the bride. We'll have Jason Bea, Andre the Giant. We'll match.
We're going to really mix and mash it. Oh, man.
All right. Buying more time to make sure Dustin isn't one is slow acting poison.
I'm actually going to sip on a little more. This is actually really nice. Oh, the second taste is even better.
I don't know if you need water. Do you want water?
Nah, 40%.
It is beam, very swallow, but it's thin on the palate. But I tell you what, once you swallow, you get that little beam nuttiness, man, then it's a nice sweetness at the end.
Yeah.
I did not expect coming out of a car this to be that nice. My dad, a bit of a drinker.
Yeah.
And I remember the type of things that were sold and bottled in the 90s. Mm-hmm. I was entered the 90s 13 years old. And the whiskey was not great in those days, Dustin. It was more of a mixer than anything else. But this is worthy of drinking straight.
Well, the stuff that's 100 months old, that stuff was pretty good back then because this probably has 15-year-old bourbon in it.
Everything was a mixer back then. I don't disagree with your statement, though.
I'll tell you what, if you start getting into these dusty whiskeys and compare it to today, man, I tell you what, the shelf whiskey today is garbage compared to then.
Oh.
Now, we got a lot of high-end stuff nowadays. It's super nice, but they used to have...
It's either poor or rich.
They had good stuff on the shelves, whereas nowadays, God, some of the some of the stuff people tell me that, oh, no, this is good. It's only $20. I'm like, I don't know what world $20 should taste like that.
Yeah, we were talking about the price earlier. I would bet this thing was a $20 item, 30 tops back in the 90s.
I mean, if you go 90 to today, like $2.50 and adjusted for inflation. So yeah, I bet these are like $70 equivalent for today. Nothing crazy, but you know. Mm-hmm. Like nowadays, if something like this came out, it'd be $300, $400.
This is the Chevrolet Bel Air, by the way.
Yes. But 57 Chevy Convertible, that's what people always talk about, man. It's a classic, legendary car.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Dustin, cool packaging. Where as far as a whiskey score on this one?
Yeah, I'm like,
look at the color on that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a beautiful color. I was expecting to go no higher than like an 85, but I'm gonna give it. I'm debating going 87. I'm gonna stick with an 86 because it is thin, but man, it's right there at 87.
Dustin, there's one thing I like on the nose, and there's one thing I like on the palate. And there's a nice little sweet finish. I like that.
Every sip I go back, it's better.
But it's still a 40% Jim Bea. Let's not get carried away with ourselves. I'm back and forth between two numbers. I'll give the higher of the one because I feel like you'll be disappointed if I don't. But I'm going to say it's an 84 out of 100.
That's fine.
It's a good whiskey. I will accept a glass of this whiskey from somebody. And not a lot of Jim Bea bourbons would I accept a glass if someone offered me, I'd turn it down. But this, not only is the package cool, but this is worthy of having a drink.
Yeah, I mean, this really reminds me of like a really good Knob Creek or something.
I'm so mad I didn't use the funnel. But aside from that, I like everything else about this whiskey.
I think you would have had just as big a mess because that funnel opening isn't big enough. It would have overrun it anyway.
I know. What a mess. What a
It
hassle.
would have been a mess either way.
What a hassle, Dustin. Fun times, though.
This is going to be the most watched section of any of our videos. We got to do a short of just that pouring.
What a mess, Dustin. But we got to it. And not too terribly disappointing whiskey.
I'm telling you, this thing is just getting better and better as it opens up. I think this is going to be an actually really good whiskey here in about a couple months after it opens up. I think this is even going to get better.
You know what? I know this is plastic, but the wheels are rubber. This is a fairly...
No, that's not plastic. The outside isn't.
That is metal, you're right.
That's porcelain.
Really?
Yeah. It's fine china porcelain.
They did a good job with stuff like that back in the day.
I mean, it looks like something that could have come out of like the 50s or 60s. They really got a good look.
Back then, you used to make stuff out of hard materials, and they lasted. You know what I mean? I think that's would be cool to put somewhere in your house, Dustin.
Yeah,
or a mantle on a shelf, something like that.
Yeah, well, you know the new shelving I just got for the whiskeys. I'm going to put it on the top.
Nice.
So I'm going to put it on top of that box, so you can see it easily. And
nice.
The box will probably eventually start, buckling under the weight, but hey, whatever.
Man, back in the day, when you drove a car like this, you could have a Jim Bea while you drove.
You could.
Yeah. Hair in the wind, or hair in the wind. Wind in your hair. Top down.
I don't know much about that, but okay.
I doubt it had seatbelts. These things were tanks, Dustin.
It doesn't. You can see right there. There are no
Tanks.
seatbelts.
You didn't need one, man. You just needed to, when you were ejected out of the car, if there was an accident, you just need to hit a body of water. Run off pond.
It reminds me going back to watching Mad Men, and literally he's got the big old rocks glass, and he's got a couple cubes in there, and it's
fresh.
3 inches, 3-inch pour.
3 fingers of Glenn Levitt.
Yeah.
That's the second Anchorman thing we did today.
Well, again, I'm telling you, I remember seeing Donald Draper doing that, sipping, and then all of a sudden he got in a car wreck. And you know what? Nobody arrested him. It was just like, oh, sorry, we'll get the insurance to take care of that $1,000 car.
Sorry, Mr. Draper. Oh, we got another wheel going sideways. Anyway, those are our thoughts on this particular whiskey. If you guys had a chance to try this one, let us know what you think. But not a bad whiskey, Dustin. Not a bad whiskey. Before we let the folks go, what would we like to say?
Happy dusty drinking.
We'll see you next time.